Welcome to Audit the Audit, where we sort out the who and what and the right and wrong of police interactions. This episode covers the use of force, trespassing, and officer conduct, and comes to us from the Mango House's Facebook page. Be sure to check out the description below and give them the credit that they deserve. Before we dive into the interaction, I want to give a big thanks to the sponsor of this episode, NewsVoice. The news affects almost everything in our lives. The information we hear and read shapes who we trust, what we eat, what we buy, how we vote, and even the way we think. The NewsVoice app offers its users more control over the news and provides important context to the stories that affect you the most. With NewsVoice, you get all the news and all the sources in one app so that you can make better decisions about the information floating around the internet and be better informed about the realities surrounding that information. NewsVoice links many different sources to each story with wildly different perspectives, so you can dig as deep into the story as you would like. NewsVoice is available on both Google Play and the App Store, and best of all, it's completely free. You can support ATA by downloading NewsVoice using the link in the description and experience a revolutionary take on the digital news landscape. Thanks again to NewsVoice for sponsoring this episode. Dr. PJ Parmar is a physician and community advocate who has founded several organizations which focus on providing services and care to resettled refugees in the Denver area. He is well known for his work at Ardas Family Medicine and the Mango House, which collectively provide medical care and community services to refugees. On the evening of March 1st, 2020, Dr. Parmar was moving Boy Scout gear from the Mango House to his other property, and as he attempted to pull into the garage area, he noticed Officer Justin Henderson of the Aurora Police Department was blocking the lot entrance with his patrol vehicle. Dr. Parmar honked his horn at Officer Henderson, and the officer exited his patrol car to confront Dr. Parmar.
Let me see your fucking hands. What are you doing?
What did you say?
To send me a routine to.
You're on my
1500
property.
block.
Leave.
Stay in the car.
No.
Members of law enforcement are bound to a specific set of standards regarding the use of force when interacting with citizens. Most agencies draft their own policies that guide their officers' use of force protocols. These policies typically refer to an escalating series of actions an officer may take to resolve a situation. This is traditionally referred to as the use of force continuum, and generally has many levels. Officers are instructed to respond with a level of force appropriate to the situation at hand, while acknowledging that the officer may move from one part of the continuum to another in an instant. In 2009, the National Institute of Justice created a force continuum example that offers insight on how the continuum is structured. On the first level of the continuum, officers are expected to exhibit a professional and non-threatening attitude. And on the fifth level, officers may use lethal weapons to gain control of a situation. The NIJ continuum example states that lethal force should only be used if a suspect poses a serious threat to the officer or another individual. Dr. Parmar did not display any signs of danger to Officer Henderson, and there was no indication that the doctor had malicious intentions by pulling into his property and honking his horn. Section 300.4.1 of the Aurora Police Department's use of force policy acknowledges that firing a weapon at or from a moving vehicle is rarely effective, and states that an officer should only discharge a firearm at a moving vehicle or its occupants when the officer reasonably believes that there are no other reasonable means available to avert the threat of the vehicle, or if deadly force other than the vehicle is directed at the officer or others. Officer Henderson immediately drew his firearm after being honked at by Dr. Parmar, and later claimed that he was worried that Dr. Parmar was going to use his vehicle as a weapon against him while he was sitting in his patrol car. Even if Dr. Parmar had attempted to use his vehicle as a weapon, it would have been against the department's policy to use deadly force. Officer Henderson walked directly in front of Dr. Parmar's vehicle and skipped several steps on the use of force continuum while approaching Dr. Parmar with his weapon drawn, even though Dr. Parmar was stopped and clearly honking at Officer Henderson to get out of the way so that he could pull into his parking area.
Of Galena.
You're in my property. You can get off it now.
It's your property?
I own it. You can get off it now.
Okay, can you show me?
I don't have to show you anything.
Okay, but you first off don't drive up on a police officer that's sitting there like that.
You don't swear at me.
Okay, well.
You don't sit on my property without asking.
I didn't know it was your property.
Please leave the property now.
Okay, well.
You're trespassing. There's signs that say trespassing.
What? I'm not trespassing on your property.
Please leave the property. I got stuff to do.
The Fourth Amendment of the Constitution was drafted to protect the personal privacy of citizens and provides for the right to be free from unreasonable government intrusion into their persons, homes, businesses, and property. Law enforcement officers must obey the very same statutes set forth to protect personal property that they are charged to enforce. And if an officer enters private property without permission and without a significant governmental interest present, then they are trespassing and can be lawfully asked to leave the premises. Colorado has 3 distinct statutes regarding the offense of criminal trespassing. Colorado Revised Statute 18-4-502 is a Class 5 felony and criminalizes the act of knowingly and unlawfully entering or remaining in a dwelling of another or any motor vehicle with intent to commit a crime therein. Colorado Revised Statute 18-4-503 is a less serious offense and is typically invoked when an individual unlawfully enters or remains in or upon the premises of another which are enclosed in a manner designed to exclude intruders or are fenced. Colorado Revised Statute 18-4-504 is the least serious trespassing offense and is unique because it deals with individuals who have trespassed on land or premises that are not enclosed or fenced. This statute is the one that would apply to the Mango House parking area because it is not a dwelling and it is not enclosed by a fence. A person must commit each element of the offense knowingly in order to be guilty of the crime. If a prosecutor is unable to prove that all elements of a trespass statute were violated, then the accused will be found not guilty. There are many defenses that Officer Henderson could take advantage of for proving his innocence regarding the initial act of parking his patrol car in the Mango House parking lot, and it is very likely that he would be found not guilty of trespassing for parking his vehicle in the lot without permission. However, once Dr. Parmar arrived on the scene and told him several times to leave the property, it was clear that Officer Henderson was trespassing and continued to remain on the property.
Come on, be on your way.
No, I'm going to figure out whose property this is first.
Get off the property. I got to unload crap.
Okay, well, we're going to figure out whose property this is first because I'm
You
not
do your
taking your
own.
word for it.
It's going to be a hard time getting by your car here.
You know you're going in on the wrong way, too.
You know you're sitting in my property.
$1,500 billion.
What's your name? Jay Henderson.
Officer Henderson. So I also clear people off of your property all the time that are trespassing.
You're making it harder for me to serve your community. You get off my property, I'd appreciate it. I got better stuff to do than to placate you on a Sunday night. I'm trying to do some work to help your community here, okay? You can leave now.
He's upset that I'm parked in his parking lot.
This should be good.
Typing a report. And he comes rolling in here like he's about to assault me with his car. And then he's mad at me that I cuss at him. So, now he's videotaping me.
Sir, can I ask why you're not happy he's here? Because you're blocking me from doing work on my own property. So could you just ask him to maybe back up so you can drive? I did. He jumped out of his car, swore at me, told me to get it, my hands up and so forth. And he's not getting out of the way. I've asked him about 5 times. Okay? I pay $24,000 a year in property tax. Get off the property. So you would not like for us to be on the property at all? I don't want you on the property. Okay.
Okay. You want to back your car out so I can go out the right way?
No, you go out the other way.
Is there a reason why you came in the way you did, like you were gonna
Do I
freaking?
have to answer your question? No.
That's actually, yeah, you do because
Because it's easier to unload my car from this side.
it's actually careless driving.
Neither the cell phone footage or Officer Henderson's body cam show the manner in which Dr. Parmar drove his vehicle into the parking area, so it is difficult to say whether Dr. Parmar's driving was reckless, but it is clear from the video that Dr. Parmar entered the parking area from the wrong direction. Colorado Revised Statute 42-4-1402 states that a person who drives a motor vehicle in a careless and imprudent manner without due regard for the width, grade, curves, corners, traffic, and use of the streets and highways and all other attendant circumstances is guilty of careless driving. Whether or not driving into the private parking lot from the wrong direction constitutes a violation of this code is debatable, but Officer Henderson would be within his authority to issue Dr. Parmar a citation and allow the courts to decide whether Dr. Parmar's actions violated the code.
Get off my property already, will you guys?
Is there a reason you don't like the police so much?
Is there a reason you're sitting on my property blocking me from doing work? Now there's 3 of you. You want to use some of your guns and tasers?
I
and
could
shoot
very
me,
well,
beat me down?
I could very well cite you for careless driving if I wanted to.
Go ahead, please do it. You got two of your other folks here. Cite me.
In a blog post written after the encounter, Dr. Parmar stated that the officers eventually left the scene without further incident and without issuing any citations. He also stated that he initially felt too embarrassed to post the video online or seek legal help, but in the wake of George Floyd's encounter, he found the courage to post the video. The Aurora Police Department has admitted that no incident report was filed on the interaction, despite officers being required to document any encounter that involves them drawing their service weapon. Shortly after the video's release, the APD launched an ongoing internal investigation into Officer Henderson's actions, and Dr. Parmar has since obtained legal representation and is filing a federal lawsuit in the district court. Overall, Officer Henderson gets an F for failing to leave the property after being asked to do so several times, drawing his service weapon in the absence of legitimate danger, and threatening Dr. Parmar with a petty citation in retaliation for being kicked off the property. As mentioned earlier in this episode, the Fourth Amendment protects a citizen's right to be free from governmental intrusion, and Officer Henderson should have left the property the moment that Dr. Parmar made it clear that he was not welcome there. Officer Henderson's skepticism of Dr. Parmar's ownership of the property was completely unfounded, and his aggressive approach was both unwarranted and unprofessional. Officer Henderson's failure to properly document the interaction is a clear violation of department policy, and it will be interesting to see if he faces any disciplinary action once the APD's investigation is concluded. Dr. Parmar gets an A, because although he may or may not have committed the violation of careless driving, he maintained a relatively calm demeanor throughout the interaction, remained vigilant in the face of Officer Henderson's unlawful commands, and followed up this encounter with the proper legal action. Dr. Parmar is a staple of his community and has devoted many hours of his life to bettering his surroundings and providing for those less fortunate than himself. And it is extremely concerning that someone of his social caliber would be treated as a criminal for telling an officer to leave his property. Officers are not entitled to entering whatever property they wish, and Dr. Parmar was well within his rights to remove Officer Henderson from his parking lot without fear of retaliation. Dr. Parmar's devotion to his community is remarkable, and I commend Dr. Parmar for his tenacity and selflessness. I highly recommend giving your support to the Mango House and all of Dr. Parmar's other projects, and I wish Dr. Parmar the best in his ongoing lawsuit. Let us know if there is an interaction or legal topic you would like us to discuss in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more police interaction content.